All right, so welcome to the Get Your Resume from the Robots into the Hands of the Humans session. Glad you guys are here with us this morning. I'm Gail McCowan, an instructor with the WakeTech HRD program. Also with me is Delia Burnett. She's going to be the moderator today. She's an instructional supervisor with HRD. A few reminders before we get started. This session is being recorded. Just to let you know that. Everyone is going to be placed on mute until we get to the end of the session, which brings me to the next point, that if you do have questions that come up throughout while I'm speaking, please feel free to go ahead and put those in the chat and you can see the chat button that looks like this should be in the middle of your screen towards the bottom. Put any questions in throughout the session, and then we will address as many questions as we can based on how much time we have at the end of the presentation. Just to let you know a couple things about Teams, as I mentioned already, you'll find that chat button on the toolbar towards the bottom of your screen in the middle. And also you will see the microphone there. That's when you can make sure that you are on mute at this time. Okay, and let's get into our discussion here. So I teach a class that I'm going to be talking a lot about today called Beat the ATS and Get Your Resume Noticed. And in that class, I ask people, when you think of online job applications, what's one word or phrase that comes to mind? And these are the answers that I get. So daunting, frustrating, waste, time, intimidating, all of these, time consuming, all these words here. And so throughout this class, what we try and do is minimize a lot of these feelings that comes up when it talks about online job applications, and talk about how we can make this whole process less frustrating and that you can feel more in control of what is happening. So what we're going to talk about today, just to give you a flavor for what we cover in that class, is why are ATS friendly resumes important, a little bit about keywords and why those are so important, resume formatting, so a couple of considerations that we want to think about, and then lastly, we'll plan to have a couple minutes left for Q&A again at the end of the session. So why are ATS resumes so important? A couple of statistics for you guys to think about. So first of all, 95+% of large companies, over 60% of mid-sized companies use ATS systems, and it's growing all of the time. There are many ATS systems out there, and companies are using them more and more. Another very startling statistic, 70 to 75% of resumes are rejected by the ATS systems. And so one of the big focuses in the class, obviously, is how not to be in that 70 to 75%. We want to be in the 20% or 25 to 30% that's getting through. Lastly, another number for you to think about, average job posting receives 250 applications. This number is actually a little bit old, and frankly, in the situation we're in right now in our economy, I'm sure that this is actually much higher than 250. But if we assume that it's 250 and only 5 people are selected for an interview, that means you have about a 2% chance of being selected. So anything you can do to help yourself to stand out from the crowd, again, get past that applicant tracking system, is going to be helpful to you. So one of the things that you really need to think about to get past the ATS system, and this is what we spend the bulk of the ATS class talking about, is how to utilize keywords on your resume. And I just want to give you a quick example of how to optimize keywords on your resume. So here's a statement from a job posting. Good verbal and writing skills, ability to make presentations to business and technical personnel. So this is what the company's looking for. I've highlighted in orange here what are the keywords in that statement. There's about 6 of them that are there. So here's an example of a non-optimized resume bullet, what you might have on your resume. So presented quarterly business results to the sales team. Pretty basic resume bullet there. Unfortunately, you've only got one of those 6 keywords that you've covered. And you may notice that you do have presented, but you don't have presentations. Those don't line up, so it doesn't count. We need to make sure we're mirroring the language of the job posting. And so as an example of what we can do with that bullet point, change it up, utilize superior verbal and writing skills to develop and give presentations on quarterly business results to technical sales team. With a few slight changes, as you can see, we've now covered all 6 of those keywords. So that's an example of what we're striving for on our resume. And to get at what those keywords are, and again, we spend a lot of time in this in the ATS class. There are 3 main things that we talk about. We also talk about a few others as well, but we talk about how to get to those things from job postings. Talk about a website called JobScan, and we talk about utilizing word clouds. And this is a picture of a word cloud right here. So we go through in great detail how to utilize all of these different methods to find the right keywords so that you can optimize your resume. Also, the last thing I wanted to just share with you is a couple of things about formatting. Next to keywords, this is the second most important thing you can do with your resume to make sure it gets past the ATS. A couple of things to think about. As it says here, simple. Really, that's what it comes down to. Simple is good, fancy is bad when it comes to your resume formatting. A couple of things you want to think about. You want to have a common font. You want to have a very clear and simple section headings for your resume. You want to avoid things like tables and columns. Lots of people have these on their resume. ATS systems do not like them. You also want to avoid anything fancy like borders or shading, images, graphics. None of these things are good for your resume. And again, in the class, we go through a detailed list of things that you need to make sure that you're doing and not doing on your resume to accomplish that. Lastly, I just want to share with you some information about the class, the Beat the ATS class. So the next class coming up does start on November 17th. It is offered monthly, and there's a link here, which, and Delia is going to put these links into the chat for us, so you'll have them there as well. You can see the information about the upcoming class and also future classes at this link as well, and sign up for them. And the class does last for about a week online. We have in the class, we have 2 short meetings live through Teams. And then there is independent work through Moodle that you'll be doing on your own as well. I also teach a couple other classes I want to mention real quickly. I teach a class on LinkedIn called LinkedIn Overview and Job Search Strategies. We go through everything from basic getting started on LinkedIn all the way through some more advanced features, advanced searching, posting, commenting on LinkedIn, how to really utilize it to promote yourself and help in your job search. And the information about that next class is there, also the link for that class. I do have another class coming up, and it is a digital literacy class. So this is a basic computer skills class. So if this is something that would apply to you or someone that you know, please share the information with them as well about that. And lastly, I do teach a class on interviewing. The next time that will be coming up will be in January. The link is also there. You can keep tabs on that class as well. And that brings us to the Q&A. So if you want, we can take a look at some of the questions that have been put in chat and answer them. If you've got any other questions, please feel free to put them in chat at this time too. We'll answer as many as we can.